2 Peter 3 talks about the world before the flood, that it was destroyed by the flood. It had last days. He said, but the world that then was reserved for fire. And this is the last days in which Christ came, and he took actually the curse on the cross, which resembles fire. This is why Moses met God on a mountain, and there was a bush burning. In the beginning, there was 2 trees. And the one tree was stopped. They couldn't eat from it. They had to leave the garden after they sinned. But now Moses was called to a tree, a bush that was burning. And God said, take off your shoes. It's holy ground. So this is the way God is going to work it. And this is the purposes of God. Do you see that you cannot separate the Bible? Come on. The volume of the book, it's written, I've come to do your will. Now he says in the last days, he was talking about those last days, the days we are living in. He says, glory be to God in the church, a world without end. So where there was a first world, a second world, we are in the third world, the church world. But the church world has a above and beneath, a spiritual and a natural. And you cannot mix the old and the new. And this is what people do. So, Annelies, but why is everything in the world? Well, it's still a fallen creation. And unless we rightly divide the word, we're not going to possess the kingdom. But the minute we possess the kingdom, listen, we're in a time of coronavirus and financial, horrible bankruptcies, and things go wrong. But it's growing pains. The Bible says in Romans 8, creation is groaning for the manifestation of the sons of God. He says his intention was that we grow up into the full stature of the full measure of the Christ. What is the Christ? The Son that came from the bosom of the Father. He was the brightness of his glory. All have sinned and fell short of the glory. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. We have to go back to Psalms, which says, my glory is above the heavens. God's glory is what was lost in the garden. And this is what we read in Genesis 1, 2, and 3. What God made, how he did it, and then how it was lost. And the minute it was lost, the generations broke out in a battle for seed, because man did not choose God. But in the fullness of time, God sent forth his Son, because he says, you have not chosen me, but now I have chosen you. And what happens here is he brought us back right to the garden. Mark 4 says, the kingdom is like a garden. First the seed is planted, and we know that was the Christ. God himself became the seed of our lives. He says, the light that shone in the beginning have now shone in our hearts. The illumination of the glory of God right in our hearts, and we carry this in an earthen vessel. So what God did, he brought us right back to the garden. The progression before the cross and the progression after the cross is not the same. Before the cross, there was a battle for seed. After the cross, it's a progression unto perfection. And the final thing is rest. There remains a rest for the people of God.